Hi and welcome to the following of the ERC20 smart contract. And in this part, we're going to continue with the contract related to ERC20 tokens. So up to here, we've written the constructor and also defined some of the variables, also two events. And it's now time to write the three functions that are necessary for this ERC20 token. So function, first of all, function transfer is the first one of our functions. So function transfer address underline 2, which means the sender of the token, and uint value, uint 256 value. And the reason we use uint 256 is because the number of digits of the value might be so high that it extends the limitation of uint 8 or any other uint or uint 32. So that's why we use the uint 256 value. So public returns bool. So the boolean of the return is actually the success of the process of transferring the tokens. And at first we need to require underline value be smaller, be less than or equal to the balance of the message sender. So balance of the msg.sender, and otherwise we'll show to the user insufficient funds. So the person should have enough money for sending it to the receiver, right? So the value should be less than or equal to the balance of the message sender, or the opposite. So actually by opposite I mean that the balance of message sender should be greater or equal than the value of what we want to send. And then we will change the balance. So the balance of msg.sender should be decremented by the value he or she wants to send. And also we should increment the balance of the receiver, right? Because he or she will receive the tokens underline 2 plus equal value. So there we go. And by the way, this is value. Okay, and now we need to emit the event related to transfer. Emit transfer from msg.sender, the person who is starting the contract and wants to send, and then from the person or actually to the person that wants to receive, and also the value. So and then in the end we will return true, which means that the transaction has been done successfully. So that's it for the transfer function, and the next function we're going to write is approve function. Function approve address underline spender uint 256 value and there we go. So we will have public returns bool, public returns bool, and then we will have the allowance msg.sender of the spender. So I will explain what is going on here. You might wonder why is it that way, and then it equals the value. So here we want to approve the transfer of money using a third party. So the person, he or himself or herself, doesn't want to transfer the money, so he or she will allow somebody else to do that. So the holder, which is the message, the sender here, will allow the spender to send a specific amount of value. So that's how we define the allowance of the spend of money from the spender. So now we will emit the event related to approval msg.sender. Here msg.sender is the person who allows, right? But instead of the transfer from function, which we're going to write, msg.sender is the spender, not the person who allows or the holder. So you might wonder if the spender is the holder. No, the spender is just spending the money without holding it. But the person who allows the spending of the money is the holder. So the spender will never hold it, just spend it, the money. And then we'll have the value, and then return true for the success of the process. There we go. That's it for the function related to approval. And then we'll have the function transfer from, and this function is related to spending of the spender. So function transfer from, address from, so it contains address from, which we'll get from the user, the address of the person who holds the tokens, and address to. Actually, this is not related to that. So this is the address of the person who is going to spend, not the holder. And this is the address to the person who the spender wants to send the tokens. And so uint 256 value, and then we'll have public returns bool for the function public returns. So it returns something, and it will return the status of the success of the project, which is true or false. So boolean, and then open the brackets. Now, the first step, we need to make sure two requirements are met. So require the value should be smaller, equal to the balance of the spender, balance of the holder or spender. Actually, the balance, not the spender, the holder, because the spender is just going to spend it, not hold it. So otherwise, it will show to the user insufficient funds. And another requirement is require that the value be smaller than the allowance, be smaller or equal than the allowance. So the amounts that the holder has allowed to spend, right? So it shouldn't exceed that amount. msg.sender. So here, as you can see, it's different from this one. Here we had msg.sender spender, but here you have from msg.sender because the spender of the money is now the message.sender. So generally, when we want to refer to allowance has two parameters, from and the spender. From is the holder, spender is the third party who wants to spend the tokens and send it to someone with the allowance. So here the msg.sender is the holder, but here instead of the transfer from function, msg.sender is the person who is going to spend it. So there we go. And then if this is not true, we'll say insufficient allowance. And it's better here to write instead of the funds, we say balance, because this is going to determine that whether it's the balance or the allowance. So that if it's the allowance, the holder exceeds the amount, actually increase the amount of allowance, or the spender decrease the amount that he or she wants to spend. So now we will change the balances. Balance of the from the holder will be decremented minus equal by the value, and the balance of the receiver will be increased by the value, right? So here the spender will have nothing to do with the balance. The balance of the spender will not change anyway. So now we need to also change the allowance amount. Allowance, and here from, underline from, msg.sender will be reduced from the allowance. So the allowance will be decreased by that amount. Okay, so the next step here is to emit the transfer. So this is another transfer, no matter it's been done using the transfer from function or transfer function. This is an event of transferring money, so we'll emit the transfer event from, and the other properties too, and then by the value, then we'll return true in the end. So that's it. We will compile the whole project in the next part and also deploy it. So until the next video, goodbye.